Greetings and welcome to Fright Night Flix, where every night is Fright Night. Scott Derrickson, the filmmaker behind Sinister and The Black Phone, returns with The Gorge, a high-concept thriller starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller. Released exclusively on Apple TV+, this film boasts an impressive cast and crew. However, with the influx of straight-streaming releases, I went in with tempered expectations. But does The Gorge break the mould and deliver something special? Is it just another forgettable addition to the streaming catalogue? Let's dive in. Here are my thoughts on The Gorge.
No!
I'll give The Gorge credit for having an interesting concept, but the film struggles under the weight of its own ambition. It tries to blend action, horror, sci-fi and romance, but instead of creating something unique, it ends up feeling like an overstuffed mess. While the action, horror and sci-fi elements are present and incorporated decently, the film leans far heavily on its romantic angle, which ultimately takes away from what could have been a more thrilling genre-blending experience. The pacing drags, taking forever to get going, and once it does, it never quite finds its rhythm, resulting in an on-screen mess that lacks cohesion. What's frustrating about this film is that there's so much talent behind it, yet it feels completely uninspired. Scott Derrickson has proven himself as a solid director when he's given the right material, but The Gorge is far from his best work. Visually, the film has that typical straight-streaming look, which is disappointing given that Dan Lauston, a cinematographer known for his beautiful atmospheric work, was behind the camera. He manages to deliver a few striking shots, but overall there's not much he can do to elevate the film's uninspired aesthetics. Then there's the CGI. Once the characters enter the gorge, the excessive reliance on digital effects completely takes me out the experience. It's painfully obvious that the actors are just standing in front of a green screen, and the lack of creativity in the visual design makes the whole film feel lifeless. The one bright spot in its technical department is the score by Trent Reznor and Attica Frost, which actually carries a lot of the film's atmosphere. Their music is haunting, intense, and one of the few elements that feels generally well crafted. Performance-wise, Anya Taylor-Joy is easy to stand out, but even she doesn't get much to work with. Her character feels like a variation of roles she's played before, and the material doesn't allow her to bring anything fresh to the table. The real issue, though, is the casting of Miles Teller as her co-lead. He is a talented actor, but his chemistry with Taylor-Joy is weak, making their dynamic feel forced and unconvincing. The film's desperately needed a strong pairing to make the romance work, but instead it falls flat. It's also a shame to see sci-fi horror icon Sigourney Weaver and Sop Driscoll, who was phenomenal in His House, weighted in forgettable supporting roles. These are actors who could have brought something special to the film, but instead they were sidelined in favour of a bland, central love story. Honestly, The Gorge feels like a waste of talent across the board, created purely to pad Apple TV's catalogue with more original content. Derrickson, Taylor-Joy, Teller and everyone involved have been part of far better projects, so it's baffling why they all signed on for something that ultimately feels like disposable streaming fodder. If anything, this film serves as another reminder of how the overproduction of straight-to-streaming movies is slowly draining the magic out of cinema. Before I wrap up my review of The Gorge, I just want to remind you all to hit that like button, subscribe to Fright Night Flix, and follow us on social media so you don't miss a single scare. Have you seen The Gorge? What did you think to it? You got me a comment down below what you thought to it. For those wondering why I don't have a Scott Derrickson ranking list coming up after this video, I'll be working on that after The Black Phone 2 has been released. Now with that all said and done, let's get back to the review. Overall, The Gorge is yet another example of how straight-to-streaming films are damaging the industry by wasting incredible talent on uninspired projects. While I can appreciate the score and Anya Taylor-Joy's performance, the whole film is a complete mess, a poorly executed concept that feels more like a product than a passion project. If the screenplay was tighter, the visuals are more creative, and the film's released theatrically with a strong co-lead for Anya Taylor-Joy, this could have been something special. Instead, it's just another corporate streaming project contributing to the decline of traditional cinema. I give The Gorge a rating of a 2.5 out of 5 stars and a 5 out of 10. Anya Taylor-Joy and the rest of the cast and crew deserve way better than this corporate streaming cash grab. Thank you all for watching today's video. Be sure to check out all my past content and stay tuned for my next video in just a couple of days. Until then, keep the chills alive, and as always, stay spooky.